I thought vibe coding is frustrating, but the recording feels is more frustrating than that. But yeah, I got pretty frustrated with vibe coding a few months ago. I decided to make this project, let AI do all the code, and I was just prompting and vibing away. And the problem is like it didn't give me a good vibe, right? I can show you guys why. So this is a game I created called Duskground.dg. It's playable, all right. It's not a big deal. So if you can, I can select the character here. I can select the play, and you can see here that we have a gameplay, right? And if I go here and I go into a new character, I can just go in, select again and play. I think that's gonna happen. Yeah. So see here, I have the other character here. I can attack and get damage. As you can see here, I got a damage and I can attack them. And it can get damage as well. So pretty much the game is working. And it's pretty nice that I make work. Was part of this thing called Vibe Jam by Peter. So like it was this vibe coding jam. Of course I didn't like win. So like I think like there's all the games were pretty cool, but I don't know what that like if the requirements were accomplished by the games, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so I had the game. I had this vibe coding challenge. I made this game, and it was pretty awesome. But then the problem is like when I come back to see the code, I see how unmaintainable the code has become, and I have to explain you guys why. So on game development, let's see. Let's go here. That game doesn't have much elements. So you basically have the character, and then you have the map, right? You have the map. Of course, there's way more to it. So I create a server, and then you have the communication between the server and the players. So to make like a WRTC connection, and then the players when they connect each other, they can see each other there. It's like there's a lot of things to it. But the main problem is that it's not the backend. So the backend was well made. I think Claude is very good to create a simple create, read, update, and delete kind of backend. And also as well, it wasn't a very complicated project to do on the server side, right? But the point is like when you have more than one character and again developer, you don't want to repeat yourself on the manner that you want to create a character for the player, a character for the other player, a character for the player. Like you don't want to develop that. So you want to develop basic things. So you want to develop first this character, and this character has some elements. So it's gonna have the controls here. You're gonna have the controls. You're gonna have the model that you want to load that character. All right. So the model. All right. And all of this is gonna be comprised in one place. Okay, because then when you wanted to have remote players on your game. When you want to have remote players in a game, you just need to have another class that we can call here remote players, where you can load any number of characters with the controls, right? You can just get any numbers of players here, and then you can have loads of characters, and you can have as well the local player here. Could be here a local player, where you can do the same thing. It's just going to be a one-to-one kind of thing. All right, so it's going to be a one-to-one kind of thing here. But then you have the controls, and on the remote player, okay, you could here get from the server what are the commands and send these commands to the control and use the commands from the server to control the character. All right, and that's it. That's what you're supposed to do. But it's not what the vibe coded game made. As you can see here, first of all, I create a lot of documentation here. What I'm trying to do here is to see if I could sway the vibe coded project to go to the direction that I wanted. So every time that I wanted to do something, I was using cursor. I wanted to get, for example, I wanted to go and add the instructor thing. Yeah, I always like add instructions. Okay, and I always add as well the README to the cursor, and I always started like read the documentation to start the game, to start development. Okay, and I went on my way to explain what I wanted to do on the game. And of course, I was using Cloud Sonnet 3.5 at the time. And depending on what I wanted to develop, it would read the documentation. Okay, so there's a lot of things here. So there's the architecture, there is, how the network works and all the stuff. And proceed to change the code. The problem is that it lies mostly on the front end and even more on the character itself. So you see here we have the player, and just make this bigger for you guys. And the player is where I wanted to leave everything about the character. I wanted to, load the models. So if you choose any of these models, you could, select these models, and you have like pretty much a lot of stuff here. So a lot of comments here. So that's really good, so handle errors with the animation setup. And this is the animation for the attack, depending on the type of character that you have. So we have 3 types of characters. So if you go back here on the preload characters, you see you have a clerk, a warrior, and an archer. So each one have a different attack type. And this attack type, they map it within the model itself. So when you call the animations, you're gonna call the animations by the model that you loaded. So its mHead, for example, is a element of the model that it's a node of the model that relies with the head. You have joints by the head, by the joints for the legs and everything. So this is like a way that you could map the files, the type of file that we have. So this GLB file. And 3JS allows us to load that, and then you're going to load like a node, and then you can actually manipulate those nodes and control those nodes. So there is the animations in that. So there is the idle animation, there's slash, cast, pull shot, and block. So there's all this like animations there. And of course, the player as well will have some sort of like ray tracing, yada yada yada. But this is supposed to be the character where you have the controls, you have everything that you wanted for this part. But then what the AI decided to do is that he loaded the player, all right, and then here it proceeds to call again animations. And then that's, for me, was the weird part, because now actually no, here it was setting correctly, because you had the animations loaded from the player, and then you do it correctly. But the problem was, let's see if I can find you guys. So yeah, so the problem was like these animations, they were coming from the backend, right? So the way that I set it up, like the server will send you the event and say, like, the player is dead, play this animation, and it proceeds to actually call the animation again. So if you see this set animation here is here. See, that's the weird part for the remote player. And it's not supposed to be like that. It's supposed to only control the character and send the controls to the player itself, and then the player would do the animation. Okay, and then also the AI bot here. So the AI bot is a different class as well, where we are trying to load as well the characters, the 3D models here, and it wasn't that great. Okay, so the problem was that it wasn't rewriting a lot of things. And for example, character controllers was something that the AI created as well. This file has almost 2,500 lines, and every time that I say that is something wrong with the movement of the character, and it's coming over back here to check it out of the player, it wasn't getting all this stuff. It wasn't getting where was the issue and how to get it, because it couldn't index everything. So sometimes it was repeating repeating functionality. So sometimes it was getting only like 500 lines, and assume that we didn't create it. For example, this applying movements animation, they will try to apply a movement animation on the top of the file. So the problem is like the readability is really complex. So you see that it's like 2,500 lines on this single file here. So this makes the code itself unmaintainable, and even for the AI itself to maintain. Of course, now I think with Claude 4, the new Claude, I think I can actually ask to create a more maintainable code and actually get this character controller to be used inside the player, because now we have the player where we have the movements and now the stop, and then the character controller is the where I control with the normal user, the local user, and then I have remote player where we control all the remote players from here, and then the AI bots as well that you can I was trying to add the AI bots there, but as well it wasn't doing a great job on implementing it. And you can see is that 800 lines, and it's really difficult now to maintain this code. That's pretty much what happened on this game development, and I feel like that coming back now and reading these files is making way more difficult, and that's what makes me frustrated, because now I wanted to continue to develop this game, but I don't feel I can handle this anymore, and I'm gonna need now to refactor everything. I'm gonna need to redo all the code that I made it and see what's going to happen. But now I don't know if it makes sense because no one's playing, so I think I'm going to try to fix the way I vibe code in the future. And how I'm going to do that? Okay, so first of all, do not let your AI code a whole project. So first thing you have to do is just, add comments, create the project, create the logic, create the first logic of the project, and then for small bits of the project, you can ask AI to do for you, but you have to be very restricted to the AI and do very specific tasks to it that you don't want it to do. I think that's the only way I feel like vibe coding can work, and for me, and the vibe coding not gonna be, making this unmaintainable code that now to come back and read it, it's gonna be very difficult to maintain it. That's pretty much that I have for you today, guys. Thank you for watching, and if you like this video, please subscribe, leave a like. I still didn't reach 500 subscribers, so if you give me a subscribe and I reach 500 subscribers, I will give away one of the copies of my book. So consider subscribing, and that's it for today. Yeah.